They tried to warn us, but it was too late. No one took Marvel's first family seriously. In 2011, it fell upon the shoulders of DC and Warner Brothers to give us an urgent warning from the furthest stars. A threat bigger than the 2016 Republicans, global warming, or bears combined. I'm talking about clouds. And if you want to support us over at patreon.com/evacstation, you can help us spread awareness of clouds and the threat they are to humanity. Help us stop this threat before it's too late at patreon.com/evacstation. Baby boomers failed to stop the clouds. Don't let their short-sightedness be our end. Oh, and enjoy the show.
Brightest day, blackest night. No evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light.
On brightest screens, in darkest rooms, no film shall escape our view. Let those who allow bad films to bloom beware our power. After credits review.
And I am your host, Aaron Scott, from A Time Before There Were Many Earths. And today with me I have Kyle Reiner, of the Space Sector 2869, who replaced my former host after he went killed crazy with the yellow space bug.
Yep, had to put that man down.
Yeah, it was not a good time for anybody, really. Especially with all that bad CGI all over the place.
Good God. Don't say it, you'll bring it back.
Oh, I know. For those who want to join us on the various platforms, we are on Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, my personal favorite, Peepa, YouTube, and Patreon, as I'll mention many, many times over and over.
Oh shit, Aaron, you forgot to mention the Patreon.
Oh, they have the Patreon. I forgot about that. If you go to Patreon, guys, to support us, you can help us fight the Yellow Menace. And that's not the Chinese. This is not a racist podcast.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Everyone, put your pitchforks down. Put your pitchforks down. And of course, you can also follow us on Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, the email as well, evacstation@gmail.com. If you have any questions, comments, or want to tell us what your favorite movies are, or which Lantern is your favorite, because everyone's got a favorite one. We'll talk about it later. Before we get too deep into that, Ryan, what you been watching?
What have I been watching? It's kind of hilarious because I just got into a debate, a heated debate with Miss Lady over here in regards to the show Arrow. Because I had to explain exactly why I stopped watching the show. And in order to actually like adequately put my point across, I had to sit down and watch a couple more of episodes from way back when it was good, back when it was so good. I'm talking about like the League of Shadows storyline, before they inserted baby mama drama, which was actually the point of the debate. So yes, recently I've actually been watching Arrow for God knows what reason.
Interesting. I fell out of that show pretty quick. I have no hatred towards it. I think it's interesting, but it didn't click with me the same way Flash did. I think, for me, Flash is always a character that click because he's just so upbeat and optimistic, so I'll just jump in right away. And Arrow felt like, and I don't want to, I might be putting this the wrong way, but Arrow always felt to me like an alternate Batman, so to speak.
Yep, that's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was.
And I'm like, I've got enough Batman. Give me fun, jolly, good times Oliver Queen, because I remember him being a fun guy in the comics, fun guy in the cartoon. This guy's not the fun guy I grew up with. What's this all about?
You know, I mean, like, I always dug the more serious stuff. Like, I love The Flash, don't get me wrong, but I mean, when Green Arrow came out and it was just like, oh, we're getting kind of discount Batman, but it's also pretty cool because they told a good story, a good progression with him, and like over the course of like the first 3 or so seasons, it was fantastic. It was really, really good. But bad writing, just bad writing.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get used to that this season. So keeping the theme with green, I thought ahead on this one. So I'm still going through my backlog, and I thought, well, I don't have any DC stuff I've been watching recently. What have I been watching that has a green theme to it? Ryan, you know I'm a big fan of the Rooster Teeth shows that they do, Red vs. Blue and Ruby and all that stuff. Well, two shows from their, one of the offshoots of Rooster Teeth, Achievement Hunter, have been keeping my attention recently.
Oh my god, I remember Achievement Hunter. Oh my god.
They've been doing a lot of live action stuff lately, and there's a couple things I want to point out here that I want to bring to your attention. One is Hardcore Tabletop. Along with their other show they've been doing, which features board games, which I don't remember the name of that one. I think it's called Let's Roll. But Hardcore Tabletop takes the core 6 Achievement Hunters and puts them in a game of Monopoly for real money. And it's...
Oh my god.
It's surprisingly entertaining. I had a lot of fun with that one. They even had a jail built into the table, so when someone had to go to jail, they had to crouch down and crawl under the table and stay there until they were let out. It was great.
I mean, was blood spilled? God damn.
It should have been. It was
real money.
It was close.
Real money on Monopoly. Friendships die over fake money.
The other Achievement Hunter show that I've been really getting into is a show where Jeff leads the crew to go on paranormal investigations called Achievement Hunter, and it's not the same as your typical ghost hunting show. You don't see as many ghosts, and it's got a lot more comedy angles going on with it than what you'd expect, but it's good for a few laughs. It's something Amanda and I can both watch. She likes the ghost hunting. I like the Achievement Hunters. It's a win-win. So, but yeah, those are two shows of them that of theirs that are going on. And since their logo's all green and shit, I thought, hey, this is a good episode to throw them in on. Why not?
Nice. All right.
Oh shit.
Cool.
I also forgot to mention too. I'll bring it up here because this fucking time is wonky and shit. But at the time of recording, this past weekend, another YouTuber group that I follow personally disbanded. Have you heard of the Super Best Friends play?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
They disbanded?
Yeah, apparently Matt and Pat of the Super Best Friends, are, according to Wooly, are no longer friends. And at first I thought they were joking, but then you see the rest of them show up in the video, and even Matt has like a little tear in his eye at one point. And I'm like, oh fuck, this is real. This sucks. This is one of the only groups they follow it consistently. This sucks.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was a weird thing to wake up to at 5 a.m. on Monday. And then one thing, I know we get to get to a movie, Ryan. I keep delaying it. So recently, Ryan, I know this is coming out in March, so we're way behind schedule here. But at the time of recording, we just finished up our Christmas movies, and we're actually about to celebrate Christmas in real life, like in our current time. Ryan, we did like 4 Christmas movies for our podcast, correct?
Indeed.
Well, a local paper, I'm going to call the Des Moines Register, USA Today, Des Moines Register, posted an article, the top 20 Christmas films of all time. And I thought I should share this with you because you would appreciate the frustration I had with this article.
Oh, man. All right, here we go.
Okay, so Home Alone, where would you rank that in the top 20?
It's fairly up there for me personally because I grew up with it.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably say in the top 8, somewhere in the top 8.
They have it as number 19.
What?
I know. Actually, what bothered me too is Arthur Christmas. I actually like that one a lot. That's number 20. That should have been like in top 10 for me. That's a good movie. Die Hard. Where would you rank that one at?
They didn't have it on the list. I can
no, it is on the list. It is on the list. I will promise you that.
Okay, that's good.
I'll promise you that.
I would put Die Hard somewhere in the middle of the pack. Somewhere probably either around 10 or just below 10.
They have it number 7. I'm not upset by that, but number 7.
Okay.
Nightmare Before Christmas. Where would you rank that? Where would you think they'd rank that one at?
Oh man, Nightmare Before Christmas is fucking classic, dude. It's classic.
It's very classic.
Top 5 easily.
Number 6, fucking teen.
I want to say
this
This is fake news. That's what the fuck this is. I didn't know what fake news was
the fakest
until
news.
I heard this shit. Nah. Where are their credentials? We need those revoked.
Let's see. Where's the guy who wrote this? I want to see his name here real quick before I commit him.
16.
Brian.
Are you kidding?
Brian Truitt of the USA Today put Nightmare Before Christmas at number 16. I want everyone to know his credentials as a journalist has been revoked by this podcast.
Yep, revoked. No, he's done.
Ryan, where would you rank Scrooge on this list, you think?
Oh my god. Please don't tell me Scrooge is actually on the list.
It's on the list, Ryan. Where would you rank this at? In the top 20 Christmas films of all time, where would this movie rank?
I swear to God, you're gonna say it's fucking third, and I'm gonna have like a brain aneurysm. If it was even to grace my list of top 20, I would put it at just barely 20. Just barely 20.
Well, someone call an ambulance, because Ryan, Scrooge is number 1. Again, I'm going to read the name here. Brian Truitt of the USA Today. You are not a journalist. You are a charlatan. Get the hell out of my office.
Absolutely fucking not. Of course not.
And
journalists have an obligation to report the truth. All right, not these blatant false pack of lies. Who the fuck Scrooged as number 1? Are you? Ooh. Oh man, let's get back to the garbage ass movie that we're supposed to review today, because I'm about to lose my mind.
I was gonna say, speaking of hack jobs and charlatans, let's talk about our film for the day.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Welcome, everybody, to the Crisis on Infinite Films, a season dedicated to a handful of recent DC-inspired films. Don't let anyone tell you that we're biased. This season we'll be comparing all the live-action films of the DCFU, that's what I call it anyway, with the animated films of the DCAU. Most of these films are available through DC Online, the streaming service for all DC comics, films, and shows. If you don't wish to pay for it, I'm sure you can find them at your local rental places, libraries, or, illegally stream it online, because I respect your decision not to waste money on today's film. Ryan, what is today's film?
The first of the Infinite films is 2011's Green Lantern. Directed by Martin Campbell and written by Greg Berlanti and Michael Green.
Oh, he's got green in his name.
He does have green in his name. Okay, the fuck, Ryan, put your face on. All right. At present, the worldwide gross for this film is 219 million. Yes.
I think
219 million. 219,851,172, which is about what it costs without factoring in marketing budgets.
That ain't good.
That's really not great. The film features a cast of Mark Strong, Tim Robbins, Taika Waititi, which was really, really hilarious for me to realize that that's actually who that was, Angela Bassett, what the fuck was she even doing in here? Peter Sarsgaard, Blake Lively, and Detective Pikachu himself, Ryan Reynolds. God, he's come a long way from that train wreck.
He really has. For awards, we have the top box office film from the ASCAP Film and TV Music Awards, a Golden Schmo for Biggest Disappointment of the Year, an Outstanding Sound Award from Hollywood Post Alliance. Surprisingly, no Razzies. That must have been a tough year for those.
That is nuts. And you know what? I can wholeheartedly agree on the biggest fucking disappointment of the year. But we'll get into that later.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a very telling fun fact for you guys. Ryan Reynolds and Martin Campbell clashed repeatedly on set. Campbell has stated in interviews that his first and only choice for the lead was Bradley Cooper. Oh dear God.
Not Rocket!
Not Rocket. Oh God. However, the studio was not willing to make him an offer and ultimately cast Reynolds behind Campbell's back. This led to an uncomfortable experience on set for Reynolds, whose performance was constantly critiqued by Campbell, who made him do many takes. Now, Reynolds has stated in an interview with Variety that the film's failure was a huge relief as he had such an unpleasant experience and dreaded doing it again.
So, I'll let you know, Ryan, before reading that fact and before putting this episode together, I always had a little bit of a blame or shade I threw towards Reynolds. So I'm like, his performance is not very good here.
Really?
This article puts that in a whole new light for me. It's not a good performance, but he was directed in such a terrible way and given such a bad script. I can understand why he was not doing his best in this one. I can totally understand it now.
I can too, and like honestly, this movie was honestly set up to be fantastic. Because when I heard it was Ryan Reynolds, I'm like, yeah, no, he has the look, he has the build, he's really funny. If you get some good CGI, and actually tell a compelling story with some great direction, you had everything, you had all of the ingredients to make a box office hit. This movie should have done amazingly well. And the fact that it failed miserably, that's why I say it was such a big disappointment. But I was never really mad at Reynolds himself because I felt like he was trying to make it funny when he could. And aside from that, it was just a dumpster fire that he really had no control over.
It was pretty bad. And we'll get into suggestions on how we could have fixed this. Because I think there are things that could have been done differently that would have easily fixed this thing. But we'll get that. We'll get that to discussion. Before we get to the synopsis, though, Ryan, what are some initial thoughts you have for this one? Or have we basically covered those?
Yeah, it's super bad. Initial thoughts. I dreaded watching this. The fact that I got Allegra to watch this with me really made me appreciate just how strong this potential relationship could be, because she put herself through hell. This was the first time she had watched the movie, by the way. And she sat through it for me. And
I think
that's really special.
I have to ask, though, what were her thoughts on this after the fact?
Oh, she thought it was garbage. It was so bad. The CGI. Why do you CGI a mask? I'm sorry. Nope, we'll get into that. Yes. She didn't like it either.
I'll go do a quick one, because, we're on the same page here. Everything that could have gone wrong with this film basically did. I'm not even angry at how bad it is anymore. When I first watched it way back in 2011, I'm just disappointed at what this could have been. If you had a competent director and better writers on staff, this could have been so much more. And honestly, part of it is just Warner Brothers getting in too deep into this and putting Ryan Reynolds in behind Campbell's back. If they'd gotten what he wanted, or if they'd gotten someone he could better work with, maybe this could have gone better. But I definitely want to put more of the blame on Campbell for just not working with what he was given. There's so much other problems going on. But we'll get into that here, because I've got a synopsis. And Ryan, you're going to love this one.
My drink is far from me, so you go right on ahead, sir.
Here we go. Somewhere in space, a man screams, and other men in space can hear it. Alien lied to us this whole time. The screaming man rips out the skeletons of the men and evolves into an evil cloud. Dun, dun, dun. Evil space cloud then goes on a rampage through space, where he kills some guy cruising for chicks. This guy crashes on a little blue planet I like to call Flat World. You know it is Earth, the home of Deadpool before he was Deadpool. Halpool is summoned by the dying spaceman through the power of green bubbles and is proposed to with the green ring. Taika Waititi picks up Halpool before the feds do, along with the alien MacGuffin. When Halpool returns home, he pokes at the alien MacGuffin the dying spaceman gave him. After enough attempts for the joke to stop being funny, Hal has beamed the words of the green cult into his brain, which he uses to activate the lantern's power. He takes this newfound power and accidentally kills 3 dudes in an alley who were just pissed off at Hal for losing their jobs.
Yep.
Great power, great responsibility. Fuck that noise. Let's beam Hal into space for some bad CGI bullshit.
Oh, God.
Enter the B-plot, which takes on a horror-esque direction in our unintentional superhero comedy. Hammond, not that one, is called into science, to science up the alien corpse Halpool found. Hammond gets infested with a yellow thing that gives him psionic powers. Also, his dad's a dick and the government is lying to him, but that was all obvious to anyone with common sense. Back to Halpool, who spends all of 5 minutes in fully CGI scenes training with cartoon abominations before saying he quits the Green Lantern Corps and wants to go back home. Nope, we will not dive into the deep lore of Kilowog or Tomar-Ray. Not enough time for any of that nonsense.
Of course not.
Back to Flat World, Hammond, on, not that one, causes an incident which really should have killed more people than it did. I mean, helicopter blades are no joke, people. But Halpool slaps on his CGI suit and saves the day. He goes through some superhero movie cliches because Taika Waititi told him to. And then he gets called back to fight Hammond, not that one, when he goes all Frankenstein's monster on his daddy in Amanda Waller version 1.0. Halpool fails to save anyone, really, and Hammond uses his brain to read Halpool's brain and inform the space cloud that Halpool has the dying alien's ring. Yep, that was a thing. Halpool returns to the CGI planet to plead for help to save Flat World. And as expected, none of the aliens give a rat's ass about Earth. They're all focused on making some cool bling that'll fight the evil space cloud. So Halpool returns to Flat World to fight with the evil space cloud. The fight ends with Halpool throwing Space Cloud into the sun because it's nature's incinerator.
Yep.
Halpool, realizing responsibility is a thing, decides he needs to actually join the Green Lantern Corps and makes an empty promise to do so as no sequels actually confirmed whether he's done that or not. Which is even more hilarious when that one character who we're supposed to know and care about puts on the yellow rain as a post-credits tease. Don't worry, everyone. This is just a threat. No other movies were actually made. You can come out from behind your theater seats now. It's okay.
Oh man, to be quite honest, I feel like Sinestro is literally the only okay part of this movie,
and he's not even in it for more than 5 minutes.
He's really not. I would have been good with seeing like a straight up Yellow Lantern Sinestro. Oh my god, I was very excited for that. But you actually get a really good actor in Mark Strong to play one of Hal Jordan's quintessential nemesis. Give him 5 minutes on screen. Fuck it, don't worry about it.
And there's so many other characters in the Green Lantern Corps that could have been interesting too. Kilowog's always kind of fun when you get him in one of these stories. And I know there's a Girl Lantern that is introduced in the cartoon show. It's really cool. And man,
fucking Parallax. Please don't get me started on Parallax. Oh my god.
Actually, I've got a whole thing on Parallax.
Oh man. Okay, so when I said don't get me started on Parallax, you meant let's just get started on Parallax.
Can I just start with the biggest problem I have so far?
Yep.
He is... Okay, I'm trying to think what the biggest one is. He is such a big and bizarre concept to tackle in your first initial origin film.
Yep.
And he's not even a character introduced until like the 80s or 90s. You have so much history of these comics to work with, and you decide to go with the most controversial character and concept from the series you could possibly go with.
Yep.
Who the fuck read Emerald Twilight and thought, Parallax sounds like a cool idea for a villain, let's use that one, and then not make him look like Parallax at all.
You know what I honestly think was the thing there? They chose Parallax for the simple reason that it was the best way to introduce the Yellow Lanterns,
but it's not Sinestro
set up, and to get Sinestro set up to be the villain in movie 2. They were planning for movie 2 in movie 1.
Okay.
Which never works out.
Well, okay. So here's my thinking. So Ryan, here's how I would redo this whole movie. Okay,
Please.
From scratch. So cut out everything with Parallax. He is not relevant to your origin film. So the movie starts with Hal doing his plane crash thing, and then instead of crashing in a test, he crashes like when he's like on the job or something. Like he's traveling in the Middle East. He's traveling somewhere and the plane just goes down for whatever reason. Maybe it goes down because of the spaceship that crashes nearby and it fucks up his systems or whatever have you. He lands, he finds the rain, he goes through that whole spiel, and instead of going to space and doing all that, the first movie is literally him learning how to use his powers on Earth. and establishing what his abilities are, who he is, and coming up with all these good support characters for him to kind of work off of. You lower your budget so you don't have to make all these big CGI cutscene doodads. You don't have to worry about parallax for a good couple of movies. And at the very end of the film, bring in Sinestro and the other Green Lanterns to bring Hal back up, and that's your post-credits to introduce him to the rest of the Green Lanterns and make this other bigger movie in movie 2 when you've made money off the first one.
Yeah, so you give him you give him a human villain to actually fight in the first movie, and then at the end of the first movie, hey, by the way, there's a whole fucking core of us that are much better at this than you are, so you should come over here and see what the fuck we're on. Yeah, I can see that. See that. Well,
and here's the thing I noticed too. A lot of so in the beginning, the movie in the beginning is very exposition and backstory heavy. Because they have to explain parallax, because they have to explain the rings and everything. And it's like, if you don't have parallax, you cut your film's budget down, you cut your film's runtime down, and you avoid all this nonsense bullshit and just go into the action, where you could explain stuff later through action. Instead, you do it this way, and it makes no goddamn sense. Like, I think it would have been cool still. Here's the thing. I think it would have been cool had you kept Hammond as your villain, but make him, like, the main villain of this first film. Have him, like, use his sonic powers to maybe force people to become his followers, and then Hal's to fight them, and then he ends fighting Hammond, which leads into a bigger plot down the road. Instead of having him just be, like, this weird one-off thing in this film. It made no sense, by the way, because at the end of Hammond's arc, what's his name? Parallax tells Hammond that you failed him, or that you failed me, Hammond, or whatever, and he just drains his soul out. And I'm like, did Hammond have an objective? I don't remember him getting the 411 or what he's supposed to do. He was just like getting powers and then went all like incel and shit. And
he was just kind of filling himself in these powers, and the only real directive he got was when after he touched Hal as the Green Lantern and was like, Parallax was like, yeah, that lantern's a threat. Go kill him. Go do that.
But I mean, he didn't really even fail though. I mean, he had Hal there. He could have still probably done it if you'd given him like 10 more minutes.
Yeah, but Parallax is a harsh taskmaster. He got there and Hal was still alive. He's just like, you're dead. I'll do it myself.
Listen, I can't just stay around in this neighborhood clouding all day. You have to either fucking do this or I'm gonna, like, storm up your ass here. So, make a decision. I've been talking a lot about Parallax and how I'd redo the film. Ryan, throw your thoughts in on Parallax. What are your 2 cents here?
I mean, you've covered a lot of it. Like, at the end of the day, they took, like, one of the most complex, like, pieces of Green Lantern lore and tried to do it in the origin story. Like that's like the equivalent of trying to explain the entire Phoenix Saga in X-Men 1. Like, it's not how you do that.
Well, I compared it to the Venom Saga. Like, you can't do that in the first movie in one movie. You have to build up to that shit.
Yeah, no, we have no shortage of comic movie failures that attempted to take on something that, you know, the comics have been setting up for like a year in one movie, and they've shown just exactly why that's a bad idea. So this is a clear-cut example of doing that in order to shoehorn this cosmic galactic being into your movie, into your origin story. They had to fucking take a hatchet to like the being that Parallax was and just kind of and twist his story all out of proportion. So it's super bad. It was a bad choice for a first villain in your origin story. And shame on you. And
to add to it too, it kind of feels like putting Galactus or Thanos as your first villain. Because Parallax is like this intergalactic universal threat. And in the first movie of any series, the threat should be a lot more personal and closer to home. Iron Man, Batman Begins, both great examples of this. because they don't start off big. They start off small. They start off as villains that are going after the hero personally and dealing with the hero's bullshit personally. And then they build up to bigger villains in their subsequent sequels. Where do you go after Parallax? What race the scales?
Sinestro, apparently.
Sinestro is nowhere near as powerful as Parallax, so that's not really that big a threat.
Yeah, no, they failed. They straight up failed.
Moving on. So I want to apologize in advance, up front, about the whole Hal Jordan Ryan Reynolds thing. Again, I kind of threw shade at Ryan Reynolds in the beginning of my viewings of this film way back in the day, because I had never really seen him do a stellar performance prior to this, and seeing this didn't make me hopeful for Deadpool. So yeah, I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all for this one. I blame more of the circumstances surrounding him. That being said, though, his Hal Jordan is very Tom Cruise-esque, and I feel like that might be kind of cliche in my opinion.
That's fair. That's fair. And one of my best friends, who is a huge Green Lantern buff, he loves the comics, he loves the lore and shit. I mean, he straight up said that Ryan Reynolds was the wrong pick for Hal Jordan, who is supposed to be a little more serious, a little more no nonsense. They would have actually cast Ryan Reynolds as Kyle Rayner as opposed to Hal Jordan.
I could agree to that. Yeah. Because in the comics, I don't know if you knew this, Ryan, but Hal Jordan and Oliver Queen actually teamed up a lot. Green Arrow, Green Lantern. And the reason they were so good together is because one was Hal Jordan. He was the square-jawed, more right-leaning Republican kind of character, and Oliver Queen was the more liberal, easygoing liberal character. And so the two of them...
I actually just watched a documentary about that. So yeah.
And so the two of them had really good back and forth banter, and it was actually very interesting stuff to read. So seeing Hal Jordan be this sort of irresponsible goof just never really clicked with me. And again, I don't blame Ryan Reynolds. The writing and directing were just fucking piss poor in this movie. So clearly there are some problems going on beyond that.
Yeah, very true. It's very true. It's very sad.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on Hammond and the Bee story? I want to hear your thoughts on this one.
It was refreshing. It wasn't amazingly well written. It seemed like such a departure from the silly ass CGI and all that nonsense that it was interesting simply because it was different. It did feel like a different movie altogether, but
I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought that.
Yeah, but whenever he showed up, I was just prepared to laugh because there's no part of this villain that I can take seriously. There's literally I couldn't bring myself to really empathize with him, except for the fact that his dad was a dickhead. It was just a straight up douche, and would disrespect him in front of other people. God damn, what?
And it didn't,
that I could go with.
And it didn't help they gave him so many motivations to go evil that it's he was gonna go evil no matter what happened. Could you maybe just picked one so we could have maybe been a little bit more suspenseful as to what might have happened?
Yeah.
Like daddy issues, self-confidence issues, this whole government lying to him being
unrequited love.
Yeah, basically being an incel. It's come on, man. You only need one of these things to be a villain. You don't need all five of them. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
And why was he going full evil during the government during the one scene where he almost kills his dad, the government officials? I get lashing out at his dad and being really kind of upset at the government guys for not being forthright with him. But after that, though, what was his goal or end game? I never really understood why he just suddenly went all berserker on everybody.
Oh, are you talking about in the lab? Because I don't really know, honestly.
Yeah, he just kind of lost it. I'm dude, if you just taken 5 seconds, just chill pill, you might have been able to get out of this in one piece.
Although, to be fair, he did kind of get black bagged again and snatched to the lab. So I can see that he wasn't very very amused with that one as well. And then you've got his dad, who's just a dickhead and thinking horrible thoughts about his son, who is a fucking psychic. It was like slotted to be just real bad. And yeah, it was really just a set piece, a set scene for him to really go ham with his newfound powers.
Yeah. Speaking of powers, Ryan, why don't we jump over to discussing the CGI here real quick?
Is bad CGI really a superpower? Is it?
I just want to say, Warner Brothers, you cheaped out on Bradley Cooper, but you're proud of this mess. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Who the hell decided to CGI the mask? That's really my biggest thing. Like the CGI suits look bad. They look very bad.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you could not just make a mask for him to wear, you literally had to CGI the mask on? Why?
Well, okay.
What was the point?
Let me play devil's advocate here. I don't agree with the idea, but let me play devil's advocate for a minute. The idea behind it, I think, was that the rings created all the suits that they're wearing. So, it makes sense that the suit and the mask are not real either. They're CGI constructs like the ring would construct them. However, and here's where I'm going to argue against the devil's advocate here. It looks like shit, and it makes the entire scene have this weird, uncanny valley kind of look to whenever he's wearing the suit.
Very much so.
And it's also fucking expensive. Just give him some threads and call it a day. That's all you need to do.
I swear to God, I can't imagine Blake Lively having to act like against Ryan Reynolds, who's just got fucking dots all over his face where the mask should be. I cannot even fathom how she did that for real.
Blake Lively is pretty talented. I'll give her some credit. Maybe not here.
Give him a fucking mask. Give him a fucking mask and a suit, please.
Well, go back to any other superhero movie, Ryan. Has there ever been a non-practical mask on somebody? Like, has anyone else ever had a CGI mask that you could point at and say that looked good?
Well, I'm told that Henry Cavill had a CGI non-mustache in Batman and Superman, but
we'll get to that here soon. We'll get to that
Justice League, but
give us a few weeks of that, everybody. We have to warm up to that.
Oh shit! I still haven't seen that, guys. Period. So it'll be a first for me
and me.
Yay!
Let's go over some other things that look bad. Oba in general looks bad. It's like green vomit everywhere. Parallax, again, looks like utter garbage. A lot of the aliens look cartoony, and it really kind of juxtaposes the when you see Ryan Reynolds next to one of them.
Yeah.
There's one scene where he and Tomar Ray are flying from one point to another, and I swear to Christ, it looks basically like they just photoshopped Ryan Reynolds' head off his body, and they're just moving the photoshopped head around the screen.
Yep.
That's all it looks like. And, you guys are so fucking cheap. How could you not make that look at all, even 10% better? How?
What kills me is that they shot their own selves in the foot because all that CGI is fucking expensive. You couldn't just wire him up in some wires, put on an actual fucking suit, and then have him fly around. It would have looked more believable than this.
So I wrote this down. Because I own the Blu-ray for this because it was $1 in a bin. I'm like, you know what? I want my superhero collection to be complete. This is gonna go in the garbage pile, but it's gonna be there.
$1.
So I got the Blu-ray of this movie, and I'm a little insulted, Ryan. You want to know why?
Why is that?
Because at the beginning of the DVD, they have little the Blu-ray. They have trailers for other products, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the product that they're giving me trailers for is the CGI Green Lantern TV show. And I'm insulted because how dare you, Warner Brothers, dangle that carrot in front of me before subjecting me to this trash? How dare you? What balls on you people do you have to think that is going to make this movie look any better?
I'm sorry. There is a fucking Green Lantern TV show? Is there?
Yeah, it's like a. I'm trying to think.
I have never seen this.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it real quick while you vamp real quick.
Oh my god! Oh man! So guys, while he's pulling that up to bring up new things for new horrors for me to be subjected to. I hope you guys understand and appreciate the bullshit that we're putting ourselves through, because we usually do movies that we like and that we enjoy talking about and we can have long conversations on, but we said, you know what, for the sake of our fans, we have to do things in a broader range. We have to do things that we don't necessarily like, so we can also talk about the negatives while also talking about the positives. This is us eating our vegetables for you, audience. I hope you're happy. I can't wait till next week when we actually get to talk about the cartoons that are well done.
Actually, it'll be the same week. I'm going to release them both the same week, so you'll hear it tomorrow, actually.
Thank God.
So, according to Wikipedia, Green Lantern, the animated series, aired from 2011 to 2012. Oh, wait, no, sorry, 2012 to 2013. There was a special sneak peek in 2011. And it was a Bruce Timm developed production featuring the voices of Josh Keaton, Kevin Michael Richardson, Jason Spisak, and Gray Delisle.
Oh, Gray Delisle. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
No, she's fantastic.
And it was canceled after one season due to poor toy sales and a negative reception to the live-action film.
No shit!
See the boundless shit that this movie has caused? It canceled a potentially good show.
Like they had some good voice acting names in there. Nope.
How dare you, Warner Brothers?
Could not save it.
So there's some dangling plot threads to this film, Ryan. I don't know if you caught those.
No, I of course I didn't.
There is the Sinestro and the Yellow Lantern. That's a plot thread that is just there.
That's the obvious hook for the sequel. Guys, stay tuned. We got fucking Sinestro and the Yellow Lantern Corps.
But there's so much focus on it, too. And I'm like, why are we focusing on this so much if it's not going to get any payoff? Like, this feels like something that would have definitely been better, at the beginning of the next movie. To me.
Again, Mark Strong, fantastic choice for Sinestro. Mm-hmm. I'd have loved to see more of him.
Yep.
But no.
Other Guardians, we get to see them for, all of 2 minutes. And I'd love to have seen any of them for, 5 more minutes, at best. I mean, it would have been better than seeing most of the Earth characters. We can be real about that here. Carol Ferris's relationship to Hal is very two-dimensional and kind of been there, done that.
It's basic superhero romance plot.
Yeah, and and then there's the vague and suspicious backstory behind the Guardians, the little blue guys, that we kind of get hinted at, but then it never gets paid off either. And again, I know that they're trying to get all these prepped up for the next movie. They'd probably dive into more backstory, but it's you already had a lot of exposition. You already had a lot of backstory in this movie. Why on earth did you think you needed more? Why on earth? Why?
Again, this is what happens when you plan for movie 2 while doing movie 1. So much of this movie was slated towards the setup for the second movie, as opposed to if you focus on the story that you're telling with small hooks to entice people as to what you're going to be doing next. But first, make sure the first movie is good enough to warrant a sequel before you start planning for the sequel. They're like, oh, we're going to have this guy introduce the yellow power so that we can have Sinestro put on the yellow ring at the end of it, because, of course, we're going to get a second movie. Of course we are. There's no way this is going to fail. Bitch, you thought wrong.
No, Ryan, Green Lantern's like the bank system. It's too big to fail. It can't fail.
Oh my god.
So, speaking of lacking of focus, Ryan, I have a few movie cliches here that this movie was desperate enough to stick to. I want to point out a couple of these. I'm not going to read them all, because there's a lot of them. Number one is the lack of focus in the movie. Namely, that it seems to, in the beginning, to be talking about a great power, great responsibility kind of vibe, like Spider-Man.
They straight up almost said that. He straight up almost said that shit.
But then the movie also has a battle of willpower versus fear. And I'm sitting here watching this, and I'm like, could y'all just pick, like, one message and stick to it? Because, like, this is fucking confusing enough as it is. We don't need multiple moral messages. Just stick to one and make it your theme, man. Don't go everywhere with it. Don't scattershot your cum. Just fire that. Focus fire that shit. There's the whole chosen one, chosen ring thing. I mean, he gets chosen by the ring, but, like, it's weird how they even do it. Like, I always like the comics better where he just finds the guy and tries to help him. And then, like, no, you take the ring and do whatever you do with it, and then the guy dies. Like, having the ring literally drag him from wherever he is just
like
stupid.
him getting absconded in a green force bubble and then snatched halfway across the fucking city and dumped at the beach. Like, what?
Yeah.
What? Also, the fact that he gets snatched, like in, like, early, like, evening, like, the sun is just starting to set, and then when he gets tossed on the beach, it's fucking night. It's, like, pitch black night. I'm like, how long was he flying, guys? What the fuck?
Oh, he was up there for a while. He had to watch the in-flight movie before he could land.
Oh, my God.
He was watching Infinity War. It was so much better.
Yeah, Hal was actually taking a time out from the movie because he really didn't want to do this shit. He's like, please, just let me stay up here for a little bit. I have to finish this.
I got two more here, real quick. Yeah, I did get two more. One is Amanda Waller. So she's brought in the movie for, like, all of 2 minutes.
Why?
Well, so Ryan, it's to set up the DCFU. I don't know if you remember this, Ryan, but this movie was released with the intention for it to have sequels and to build the next DC universe to compete with Marvel. Because this came out about the same time as Thor, the first Thor did. And so Marvel's...
What a fucking misstep. What a misstep.
Well, Amanda Waller is your character that you would probably have to use for DC to set that up. But she feels like such a lazy, thrown-in answer to Nick Fury that it's just not very good.
It really isn't. And it's also not really Amanda Waller. Like, Amanda Waller she's the dark cat. She's the ruthless face of humanity that will literally do anything that it needs to do. She's the less nice Nick Fury.
Yep.
And she's supposed to read like that. When you see her, you're supposed to kind of hate her guts, but also realize that she's going to literally do whatever it takes to save mankind. That's the juxtaposition of her character. That's like the crux of it. You're supposed to hate her and know that she's a necessary evil. I love Angela Bassett, but why was she here? Like, what? She was just there to be like, hey, I need you to come science this thing. That's it.
It was a paycheck. That's all it was. She's like, hey, I need a paycheck. Could y'all, like, give me a movie? It's like, here you go. I'm like, oh, I don't want this. Like, you wanted a paycheck. Oh, okay. I'll take this. And then I have one more gripe I have in regards to cliches. That's the Sinestro storyline a little bit. Again, Mark Strong, good actor. But why did Sinestro put on the yellow rain at the end? The threat of Parallax was gone, and there was no actual reason for him to do it. And I get that if you had maybe given him more screen time, we might have been given a reason. But he just puts it on at the end, and it's like, yeah, no, I'm going to go evil now. I don't know why. I'm wearing it now, though. Here I am.
Yep. Well, the answer to that is simple, Aaron. He put it on because he's going to be the villain in movie 2.
He wants to. That's
you
it.
You didn't see him reading the script for Green Lantern 2 before he put on the ring?
He's like, oh wait, I have to be the bad guy next time. Okay, I'll put it on now. Get all warmed up.
Well, let me just take a look and see how it fits. All right, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, my costume's all yellow, guys. Can we fix that in post? But no, like I'm comparing this to Mordo and Doctor Strange, and Mordo was given a reason. He actually had legitimate reasons to become a villain.
He had character development. Holy shit.
Sinestro had none, and I just don't get why you'd even bother to have that as your post credits without any build up to it. And as a side note, I know this is his name in the comics. I get it, but Sinestro going evil. Oh, who could have seen that coming? It's like Victor Von Doom.
His fucking name is made of Sinister. Yes,
or Cruella de Vil or Evil Endeavor. I mean, come on now.
Evelyn Dever, god damn it. Hey, Evelyn Dever was actually a very well done twist.
It was good, but still, like, yeah, you could see it coming once you hear it out loud.
Once you heard it out loud. But they did a great job of never saying her full name. And, like, you only really caught it at the very end when you were looking at the credits. Just like, oh, fucking of course. Of course.
But seriously, people, don't name your kids any of these names. They're gonna be evil. It's like naming your kid Alfred. He's gonna be a butler. Just don't do it. Just don't do it.
Now, it's actually funny, and I know we're skipping ahead to tomorrow.
Yep.
But when we review the animated version of this, they do a really good answer to giving Sinestro some build up.
Yeah.
And it was different. I don't know if that is actually the build up in the comics because I haven't read them, but it was different from what I thought was the reason why Sinestro goes fucking batshit crazy, but it was really good. And it was very well done and well deserved. And I can't wait till we get to tomorrow to talk about it. But just stay tuned, guys, because we're gonna look at a good version of this story tomorrow. So you gotta eat your veggies before you get to that.
Yep. And we'll definitely. I have some thoughts about that, but I'm gonna hold them for that episode.
Yep.
But before we move on to our final segment, because we're gonna change the format a little bit for this season, we're gonna do a quick mailbag shout out. If you do want to send us comments, questions, concerns, or if you have your own favorite DC films or characters, or you want to tell me why you hate this movie as much as I hate this movie, or as much as Ryan hates this movie, you can visit us at our Facebook, Twitter, or Tumblr page, or the email. Ryan, what is that email?
That email is why the fuck would you CGI a mask at gmail. I mean, excuse me, that is evacstation at gmail.com.
The G stands for green.
No, it doesn't. You take that back.
So Ryan, I'm going to end this episode. So I guess you should probably explain. So this season we're doing live action and we're doing animation, same week, back-to-back comparisons. And so we're going to save the ranking of the film for the second episode, where we discuss basically who wore it better, the live action or the animation. Given what we've talked about so far, I think our thoughts are pretty clear, but we'll hold them off for that episode. To end this episode off with, though, Ryan, I've got a few bits of DC trivia focused on Green Lantern just for you.
Yay!
Alright, my first question. I only have 4 here. I thought I had 5. I have 4 here. Ryan, wait, hang on. Roll the music. Okay, cut that in. So, Ryan, Alan Scott was the first Green Lantern in the series, in the entire run of Green Lantern. And his power ring was powerless against what substance?
Man, I am not good at Green Lantern trivia. 'Cause I don't know shit about Green Lantern, especially about early Green Lantern. Fuck.
Well, I'll give you a hint. It becomes yellow in a later edition of Green Lantern. It was something else before that.
It's fucking constructs made of will. What else would be?
It's very silly too.
Am I gonna be like really pissed when you say it?
No, you're just gonna be like, what the fuck? That's part of what you'll probably be more like.
Oh my god. Alright, what is it? What is it? I can't.
Wood!
I'm sorry?
Wood! You know, from the trees. Wood.
Wood?
Yeah. His ring was powerless against wood during the earliest issues of the comics.
Why?
I don't know, but they quickly retconned that for good reasons.
What? All I gotta do is hit him with a wooden chair and he's done. What?
Yep, he's out.
Oh my god.
My next question, Ryan. As of the late 1970s, what is Green Lantern John Stewart's claim to fame?
Wait, did you say 1970s?
Yep. His appearances in the 1970s. So as late as the 1970s, what is Green Lantern John Stewart's claim to fame?
My guess would be that he's one of, if not the first black superhero that DC had. Because back in the 1970s, yeah.
You are absolutely correct.
Yes! Yes, I knew Jon Stewart was black, and as soon as you said 1970s, I said, "Wait a second." I didn't think he debuted that far back, so that's cool.
Yeah. And speaking of different non-white, non-male characters, there were numerous Green Lanterns from Earth, Ryan, but who was the first female to debut in 2013?
Oh, fuck me, dude. I have no idea. I know Hal Jordan. I know Kyle Rayner. I know Jon Stewart. I don't read the current Green Lantern, so I would have no idea.
Her name is Jessica Cruz, and I didn't know much about her either.
Ooh, okay. Nice.
I'll jump to the other list you've got here. So, Ryan, here's a fun... Actually, no, I'm going to stick to what I had here, because if I get triggered for the next episode, I'm going to save it. I don't know if we're going to have it or not. Ryan, there are 8 Lantern Corps. What are the 8 corps, and for bonus, what is their emotional spectrum?
This one I know, actually.
Oh, okay.
Because when my friend told me about the fact that there was a Lantern Corps for every color in the spectrum, I was like, holy shit, that's really awesome. So, let's see here. Red is for anger or rage. Mm-hmm. Orange is for greed. I think they call it avarice. Mm-hmm. Yellow is fear. Green is willpower. Blue is hope, which young Ryan would have said he was a Blue Lantern, straight up. Indigo, I'm pretty sure, is compassion. Yes, the compassion ones. I'd say older Ryan is an Indigo Lantern. Violet Lanterns they represent love.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because Star Sapphire, Carol Ferris, actually. Ha ha ha. And actually, I'm pretty sure there are 2 more, because there's the Black Lanterns, which are death, and then there's the White Lantern, which is life.
So the list I was given didn't have White Lanterns. I think wasn't that just a temporary thing?
Oh, the White Lantern comes at the end of Blackest Night.
Yeah.
Like literally, they have to figure out something, and then Kyle Rayner becomes the first White Lantern.
I thought it was Sinestro, but I might be wrong. You might be right with that one.
I might. Again, hey guys, if I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, because I honestly don't read the comics, but if I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, please feel free to correct my ass in the comments below. Or if you want to email in and say, Ryan, you don't know shit, please, I'm more than happy if you would just talk to me. Please.
Indeed.
Please.
And with that, we're going to hold off our thoughts on this movie. Y'all pretty much know where we stand on this one, though. We just spent the past 40 minutes complaining about this shit.
Fucking bad. I'm sorry. No, we're holding that till tomorrow. Sorry. My bad.
So, if you want to hear how we could feel this compares to the animated version, tune in tomorrow when we talk about Green Lantern First Flight. And, Ryan, is there anything else we should leave these guys with?
No, just, you've made it. If you've stuck with us this far, you made it. Your vegetables are done. Come back tomorrow and we're going to talk about some really good DC stuff. This is DC lore and animated series done right. And this, if the cinematic universe was done as well as the animated, universe in the majority of cases, there would be a much better contention for comic book movies. And when you come back tomorrow, you're going to find out exactly what I mean by that.
Yep. And then also tune in next week. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a heads up. Next week, we'll be talking about Superman movies, All-Star Superman versus Man of Steel. I'll remind you again tomorrow, but just thought I'd give you a heads up now in case I forget to mention it next episode. So with that, we'll get on to First Flight, and we'll see you after the credits.
Bye!